Hey, I'm Nick DiMatteo, and welcome to Season 8, Episode 5 of Music is Not a Genre. I don't know why that surprised me so much. Let's do the hand gestures. MxG. This week's topic, continuation of last week. I'm in the same shirt, actually, and it is Part 2, Kool the Gang, More to Cherish. Last week was called More to Celebrate. We'll get into that topic very shortly. But, of course, as always, thank you for watching and listening. Listeners, go to youtube.com/@musicisnotagenre. You get a video for every episode of this podcast. Watchers, go to nickdimatteo.com/musicisnotagenre if you would rather just listen. And everyone, go to patreon.com/musicisnotagenre. And everyone, go to patreon.com/musicisnotagenre. And everyone, go to patreon.com. And you think maybe that something is wrong with the audio, and it's not. I'm repeating this because of how important it is. We streamers, wherever we are, do not make much money from streaming, if any at all. We make it from supporters like you, among other very few small list of things. But most importantly, the supporters, you listeners, you watchers, please consider going to patreon.com/musicisnotagenre to support this podcast, my band Rec, all the music I make and everything I do. It would really help. And what else would help is if you like, share, subscribe, rate, review, playlist, whatever it is, wherever you're listening and watching. Put input, comment, any of that, like, share, all of it makes a difference to me and to the algorithm, which we unfortunately have to deal with. Also, of course, I have a song coaching service at nickdimatteo.com/songcoaching. If you want to write a song and you're not sure how, go to nickdimatteo.com/songcoaching. Book a free 30-minute consultation with the song coach, the mysterious fellow that you're listening to right now. And then, of course, Rec's latest single is You Know You're Right from our album Kite to Camden. It's the most successful single we've had in recent years. It's one of my favorite songs. So please go to nickdimatteo.com/music and find where you can stream it, find the social media where you can follow, find where we're playing on the live page, and find out all of the discography right there at nickdimatteo.com/music. And stay tuned very soon, if not already, I think in the next week or two, Rec's final single from the album, Kite to Camden, is going to come out. So let's get back to the topic, which is Part 2, Kool the Gang, More to Cherish. So yes, it's the second half of my coverage of Kool the Gang. They couldn't fit into one. And I talked about that last week, where I really should have done multiple episodes on other artists. Prince comes to mind. I did it on the Beatles. I think any band that's had more than maybe 15 albums, I should probably do in 2 episodes or 20 or so. And they had well over 20 albums. And so that doesn't make Kool the Gang more special than Prince or the Beatles, or less. It just means that I'm rethinking what I'm doing, which I try to do every season. And so that last week covered from their origins to 1982. This week covers from 1983 to right up to today. And again, if you missed last week, go check it out if you're more interested in that era, and also to kind of catch up. But the reason I'm doing this, and I'll repeat it here in this episode, is because I've been into Kool the Gang for decades. And they're not a heart artist, I would say, but I'm into them. I've loved them and appreciated a lot of their music. And I finally decided over the summer to check out their whole catalog, and I was blown away. Lots of discovery. And again, finally, they're a Jersey band, so I'm particularly biased. The show format. So there's really no history to go into, as I usually do, because I did that last week. I'm going to go right back into the chronology, and then conclusions, including, finally, ranking my top Kool the Gang albums. There's Baker's dozen of them. It's about half of what they put out, a little less than half. Featured song, again, questions. And don't forget the bonus MxTRA, speaking of songs, at patreon.com/musicisnotagenre. It is my top 45 Kool the Gang songs ranked from 45 to number 1. And I could have picked 80, but 45 seemed like the right number to me. At patreon.com/musicisnotagenre. And don't forget that last week's bonus MxTRA was all of the Kool the Gang songs that have been sampled by artists. I hope you saw it, enjoyed it. At patreon.com/musicisnotagenre. Please support this podcast. You get a lot of bonuses like that and other perks, early releases and such. Sources Again, Wikipedia, streaming services, including YouTube, Kool the Gang-fansite.jp, open.music-worx.com, and for last week's bonus, it was whosampled.com. Disclaimers, as usual, I'll be biased. As usual, I won't go into personal stuff unless it's relevant to the music. As usual, I won't cover non-primary albums like there are many, 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 many hits compilations unless there's something new on it, some other development. And some of their music from this period, as I mentioned last week, I couldn't find anywhere online. And I will comment more on that in the conclusions. But it was really troubling to me that a band this big, that some of their music I couldn't find. So let's do a quick recap before we get into the chronology. The first episode, again, history, catalog up to 1982. By that time, by 82, they were far into the J.T. Taylor era and were already rising to legendary status, but hadn't quite gotten to legendary status, really, and hadn't released their biggest album yet. We're going to get to that. There are lots more success and changes to come. So let's get right back into it. In 1983, they released In the Heart. Went to number 29 Maine, number 5 R&B. It was kind of bounced back from the previous album, although the previous album was not a failure by any stretch, but it continued them up. You can tell immediately that they had moved away from Deodato as a producer and square into the early 80s sound. A really strong album, yet again. And somehow that mojo that they lost for most of the second half of the 1970s was just back and in sync, even with the sound update. It really is throughout the album. Number 1, In the Heart, the title track, 4th single, didn't chart. Number 2, Joanna. Joanna, I love you. Ooh, you're the one for me. Of their big ballads, I prefer this one. The second single went to number 2 Maine, number 1 R&B. It's the first of their 2 classic pop ballad hits, and I love it. Number 3, Tonight, dun dun dun, ooh, this is the night, we'll see the light or something. Third single went to number 13 Maine, number 7 R&B. Again, love this song, love the mix of rock in this song, and it's one of those, again, kind of forgotten hits. It's a big hit. Top 20, and it's not a song that people would just jump out and say, oh, Kool the Gang, Tonight. No, they're going to say Celebrate or something else. Number 4 is Rollin'. Number 5 is Place for Us. Side 2, Straight Ahead, is their first single. Went to number 49 R&B. I don't remember it, but I do really like it. Number 2 is Home is Where the Heart Is. Bit of a country lilt to it. Very good and interesting chord changes. Yeah, just nice that they kept the mix going. They could have made everything sound like either a dance song or a ballad, but they didn't. Number 3, You Can Do It, almost as good as Tonight, and I love the vocal effects on it. And number 4 is September Love, which brings me, drum roll please, my drummer's sick. Emergency, 1984 was their next album, went to number 13 Maine and number 3 R&B. It's their most successful album, highest charting album on the main charts. Right? Is that true? Yes, that's absolutely true. And the album that has sold the most. And it was squarely into their new sound and squarely into the early 1980s sound, or mid 1980s, I would say. And their first track off it is the title track, Emergency. It was the 4th single. Went to number 18 Maine, and number 7 R&B, and number 41 Dance. Great song. Love the chorus. If you don't know Emergency because you're more familiar with Joanna and Cherish and Celebrate and Get Down on It and whatever else and Jungle Boogie, Hollywood Swinging, go check out Emergency. Check out Tonight. Check out Let's Go Dancing as those kind of hidden, forgotten hits. Number 2, Fresh. It's probably another one you think of when you think of Kool the Gang. She's fresh, exciting. That's so wrong. Everything about that was wrong. First single off the album went to number 9 Maine. And it was their 8th number 1 on the R&B charts and their 3rd number 1 on the dance charts. Absolutely holds up. Of course the language is dated, but it holds up. Holds up. Great song. Number 3, Misled. Second single went to number 10 Maine, number 3 R&B, and number 9 Dance. It's a mix of rock and funk and pop that just totally works. And it's again one of those forgotten hits. Misled. Number 4, Cherish the love we have. Third single, number 2 main, and number 1 R&B. It's their second classic pop ballad. It's still a very good song. I prefer Joanna, but still a good song. Side 2, and this is in the era when there were sides, even though I believe this was released on CD, if not right away, then eventually. Number 1 was Surrender. I like that song, especially the Prince-style keys. Number 2 is Bad Woman. And the only other track on side 2, You Are the One. It's an odd song. Really surprisingly good. Harkening back to their jam roots. Over 7 minutes. It's a spiritual and religious song, and it's the one that won them the Grammy. Worth looking into if all you know are their hits. Which brings me to the album after the big album, because everybody's got one. And that's Forever, 1986. So that went to number 25 main, number 9 R&B. It was their last successful album. Let's just say it right out. After this album, JT quit to pursue a solo career, which we're going to get into, actually. Like so many bands heading into 1986, it sounds warmed over, production-wise at least, and even song-wise, honestly. I mean, the same thing happened to Pointer Sisters and so many other artists who had started that much earlier. Number 1, Victory was first single. Number 10, Main. Number 2, R&B. And number 35, Dance. Big hit. Didn't know it was that successful. I don't remember it. Number 2, IBMC. Number 3, Stone Love was their second single. Number 10, Main. Number 4, R&B. And number 41, Dance. Again, don't remember that it was that successful. I guess I was just out of touch with them by 86. Number 4 is Forever. Side 2, Holiday was their third single, number 66 main, number 9 R&B, and good song, definitely. Again, none of these songs are songs I absolutely love, but there are songs I like Holiday. Number 2 is Peacemaker, was their fifth single, went to number 78 R&B. Pretty good song, positive messaging. I do like it. Number 3 is Broadway. Number 4 is Special Way, was their fourth single, went to number 72 main, number 24 R&B, and number 6 Dance. Special Way was their last song to chart on the main charts in the United States. I don't love it. Number 5 is God's Country. Now we're taking a break here. Not from they were not at the mid-roll yet. And again, I'm messing with my new haircut. My God, I should have taken a shower. Yes, you heard it here first, folks. Just came from a haircut. We're going to break in the chronology to discuss the only significant solo career to stem from Kool the Gang, and that is James J.T. Taylor, who left the band after their 1987 tour. He released his debut solo single, All I Want Is Forever, which is a duet with Regina Belle back when duets like this were in all the movies, like the one with Peter Cetera and Cher and blah, blah, blah. And the one from Fievel, what the American Tail, featured on the Tap soundtrack, and it went to number 2 R&B. Very nice out of the gate hit for J.T. Taylor and Regina Belle. It's a totally fine song. He then released 3 solo albums in this period. 1989's Master of the Game, which went to number 77 R&B. It featured 3 singles. Sister Rosa, which was number 53 R&B. The title track, Master of the Game, number 32 R&B. And 8 Days a Week, not the one you're thinking of, at number 81 R&B. They're all fine, all good songs, nothing amazing. A couple years later, in 91, he released Feel the Need. It's an album that did not chart. It is not streaming. The first album of his is streaming. It's the only thing that's streaming from JT. But Feel the Need is on YouTube. It yielded 4 singles. Long Hot Summer Night, which went to number 13 R&B. So I believe that was his biggest hit other than the All I Want Is Forever. Heart to Heart with Stephanie Mills, another duet, number 65 R&B. The title track, Feel the Need, which went to number 18 R&B, which so far, that's my favorite of his solo career. And Follow Me, a single that did not chart. I think this album is stronger than his first album, which is nice. Baby I'm Back was his next album, 1993. Didn't chart. I don't know where he was coming back from because these were 3 kind of back-to-back albums. This is not streaming, but it is on YouTube. There were 2 singles. Title track, number 65 R&B, and Prove My Love with number 34 R&B. It felt to me like the album tracks are actually stronger than the singles, but overall nothing here. I think the second album was his strongest. And then in 96, he did the Kool the Gang reunion album, which we'll get into very shortly. And then had a few one-off concert appearances, including last year at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. That really was the last significant work he did with them was the 96 album. But he did, shortly after that, release one more solo album in 2000, A Brand New Me. Did not chart, not streaming, and it's actually very hard to find on YouTube. Not the hardest of all this music, but pretty hard. 2 singles, Sex on the Beach, number 56 R&B, not a drink I ever drank, and not a song I'll probably ever listen to again. How was number 82 R&B. I do like the chiller neo-soul vibe of this album more than his previous albums. It's a great evolution. The title track, A Brand New Me, is like if you mix Prince and D'Angelo, and I think it's better than the singles. Brand New Me, the song, is worth listening to, I think. And that's JT's solo career. Let's get back into the Kool the Gang chronology. So we left off at 1986, right before JT left. And in 1988, they released an album, Everything's Kool in the Gang, Greatest Hits and More. It went to number 109 main and number 58 R&B. And the only reason I'm spotlighting this, because it is Greatest Hits, is because it has new material. And I think it was bold for them to start off a hits album with the new songs. It's usually not the case. Also some interesting remixes here. And the new songs are Rags to Riches. It was the first single, number 38, R&B. I like this song, and honestly, I think it's better than their whole next album. Second single was Strong, also not bad. Number 53, R&B. And then Money and Power was their third new song. It was, I believe, not released as a single, and it's okay. Then of the remixes, Hollywood Swing and Club remix. It's a very 1980s sounding remix, but in a very good way. One of my favorite remixes is the Hollywood Swing and Club remix. Also released a Celebration remix as a single, which didn't chart. So getting away from a compilation, their next studio album was the following year in 1989. They released Sweat, number 52 R&B. Again, did not chart main. It was the expected update that you'd get from an R&B band in the late 80s. It had a very New Jack feel. Not bad production, all things considered. You can feel the loss of JT, though. You know, the lead singers are all fine, but no one stands out. Material, fine. Nothing really stands out. Let's get into it, though. Number 1, I Sweat. Nice try at an update sound, and fun, if just for that the sampling and mixing is actually kind of fun. Although, again, this is this era where you have a band with an amazing horn section and they use the synth horns. This is annoying to me. Number 2, This Is What a Love Can Do. Number 3, Never Give Up was their second single from the album, went to number 74 R&B. It's kind of a so-so ballad. Number 4, You Got My Heart on Fire. Number 5, Someday. Side 2, Raindrops. First single went to number 27 R&B, and I do like it. Number 2, In Your Company, good energy. Good sounding song. Number 3, I'll Follow You Anywhere. Number 4, All She Wants to Do Is Dance. Not the one you're thinking of. I like this too. It was their best take on the New Jack sound, I think, is this song. 5, How Can I Get Close to You? And 6, You Are the Meaning of Friend. That album didn't do well. They continued to tour, however. And 3 years later, in 1992, they released the album Unite, which did not chart at all and is not streaming at all. You can find individual songs on YouTube, but I don't think anybody compiled the full album to a playlist. This is a mix of attempts at both old school jam, or not both, at old school jam, maturity, and youthfulness. And that kind of compromise is hard to pull off, and their results were mixed. Not as bad as you might think. Honestly, this is an album that kind of, I think, should be streaming, and you should probably listen to it to see where they were at this time. I think they kind of got a raw deal, maybe from the record company. Who knows? Then again, the lead singer rotation is also continues to be pretty mixed. Number 1, Jump Onto the Rhythm and Ride. Cool shout-outs to other songs. Yeah, it's cheesy and kind of backward looking, but it's a nice opener and it's well produced. 2, I Think I Love You, not the one you're thinking of. 3, Love Come Down, not the one you're thinking of. Number 4, Pretty Little Sexy Miss, good song, I like it. Number 5, Better Late Than Never. Number 6, Heart. Number 7, My Search Is Over. Number 8, WKOOL, which is like the dial of a radio, and then somebody talks. Number 9, Summer. Number 10, B-Ball. I love this. It's just an interstitial, but there's rapping on here, and it's not cheap. It works. The rapping works. The song works, even though it's a minute. and only half of it is music. Number 11, Brown, is probably the strongest full song on the album. Their old school jamminess mixed with early 90s sound, and the rapping, again, really works. Listen to it. Number 12, Give Right Now to You. Number 13, State of the Earth Address. Number 14, some of these are interstitials. Number 14, The Weight, also nice, very respectable rapping, yet again. And because I'm pretty picky about that stuff. And a lot of raps and rhymes don't age well. But some do, as we know, because there's classic. And then a lot of the B and C level especially don't age well. Frankly, all really good on this album. Number 15, It's Not Too Late. Number 16, Show Us the Way to Love. Number 17, Now Is the Time. Number 18, Unite. It's their only single. Didn't chart. It wasn't a super great song. Number 19, Classical Cool. It's what it sounds like. It is a little snippet of classical music. Number 20, God Will Find You. And number 21, Spatial Relationships. It's got that old school Kool and the Gang spacey spirituality, and it's very nicely done. And yes, there were 21 tracks on that album, although I think at least 5 of them were interstitials. So 4 years later, oh boy, 1996, they released State of Affairs. Didn't chart, but it is on streaming. Why? Because it was the return of J.T. Taylor, was the final album with them. A lot was made of this. A lot was expected of this. And despite JT's return and a nice sound update, it did not deliver. None of it's bad. None of it's bad. It just doesn't land. The material isn't as strong as it could have been. You wonder, since they're always touring, why they didn't stop the hit chasing sooner and start to return on the recording to their heyday sound like they probably were doing live, like so many other acts did. They didn't need to keep chasing the hits. I admire the ambition, believe me. I'm one to talk, but I feel like they were kind of overlooking their core in a way at this point and got too used to those poppy hits. Number 1, Salute to the Ladies, second single, number 60, R&B. So there was a charting one, at least one. Number 2, In the Hood. I like this song. It went to number 27 R&B. Number 3, Color Line. I really like this song. And to me, this Color Line holds up to their mid-'80s material at least. It's the heaviest rock they've done in a while, too. Number 4, Second Thoughts. Number 5, Crabs in a Barrel. Number 6, Woman Lover Friend. These are no longer side 2. This is a CD. Number 7, Game of Love. Number 8, 90s News. Number 9, Life in the 90s. Number 10, Friends. Number 11, My Body. Number 12, Reunited. So really only those, the second and third song were ones that I really liked. When you get to the 5 years later, all right, so the year after JT's final solo album, I'm not sure what he's been doing. I may be touring. I didn't look that up. This is not about him in particular. Then in 2001, Kool and the Gang released an album called Gangland. It's a cool name when you think about the double meaning there. Didn't chart. It was a collaboration between them and a bunch of rappers who I've never heard of, any of them. Some songs were new and some were interpolations of previous Kool and the Gang songs. I had to do such a deep dive to find any of this audio. Any of it. I had to go to the Japanese site to find a lot of it. And I still only found 4 tracks out of the couple, like dozen or more that are on here. Most sites would say it's not available in this region. What I found, I really liked, frankly. Actually, I think I ended up finding more 4 than 4. I don't remember. Well, you'll find out soon. But that site, koolandthegang-fansite.jp, it lists all the credits. So you can find out who the rappers were in each of these songs and the singers. And again, I know a decent amount about hip-hop from various eras. Even if I don't know all the music, I know most of the artists, and I didn't recognize any of them. But again, good, strong, quality. There were no singles from this. Oh, by the way, if somebody has this audio, because you can buy the CD, which I'm not going to do, but if you have it, send it to me because I want to hear the rest of the album. Number 1 was Big Thangs. I like that song. Number 2 was Mo Big Thangs. Number 3, Blow Up. Number 4, Where the Boogie At. Really good, really good. It's interpolation of Jungle Boogie, and it holds up as a song on its own. Number 5, Turn Out. Number 6, Jungle in My House. Also a very good song I like. Number 7, Money Makes the World Go Round, not the one you're thinking of. Number 8, Ballin' in Chinatown. Number 9, That's Right. Number 10, All My Time. Number 11, Early in the Morning. Number 12, Cherish. I assume it's a remake. Cherish. Couldn't find it. All the ones I'm listing now, couldn't find online. Number 13, Hit Me on the Hip. Number 14, Goody Goody. Probably not the one you're thinking of. Number 15, Concrete Jungle. Number 16, Funk Done Gone Hip Hop. Just describes this album and some of the stuff from the 90s and subsequent to this. Number 17, Jazzy Axe at the Cool Jazz Cafe. I did find this. It's a swinging version of Jungle Boogie along with some super great jamming. And it shows what a great band they still were in 2001. In 2003, The Hits Reloaded was released. It didn't chart. And what they did here is considered a primary album because they re-recorded their songs with guest artists, especially those ones who were replacing JT on vocals. I didn't listen to all of it, but I'll go through the ones I listened to that I liked, partly because it's not on streaming. You can find most of it on YouTube, but not easily. What I heard, actually, I thought sounded good. The 2 CD version has 29 songs redone. All the ones you'd expect, all the hits and stuff like that. There were 6 singles released. Ladies' Night with Atomic Kitten. I like it. I think it's a nice update. Fresh with Liberty X, which wasn't bad. Too Hot with Lisa Stansfield. It's hard to dislike anything with Lisa Stansfield. Get Down on It with Blue and Lil' Kim. Not bad. And Hollywood Swingin' with Jamiroquai. Also not bad. It was the only one to chart. Number 5, Dance. It's their final dance charting song. And then a remake of No Show featuring Blackstreet, which is okay. And I think that this might be actually a good time to take a mid-break. Because don't forget, this is the 2nd episode of Kool the Gang. So it's kind of the 3rd part. If you think of each episode split in half, we just finished part 3 of 4. And we're up to the 2000s. And right after this mid-roll, we'll get to the rest of their catalog up to today and conclusions and featured song and questions and all of that. So I'll see you in a minute. Hey, thanks for checking out this episode of Music is Not a Genre. If you'd like to learn more about this podcast, if you'd like to learn more about the music I do with my band Rec or any other projects or anything else about me, go to nickdematteo.com. That's Nick, DEMATTEO.com. And everything is there. There's even a link to a merch store where you can get t-shirts and mugs and hats and totes and notebooks and so many other things. I'm always adding new products there. Great way to support the podcast. And finally, go to patreon.com/music is not a genre if you really like to show your support. My fans and lovely family there get exclusives and other perks and early releases, and they get to suggest topics for future podcasts as well. Thanks for listening to the mid-roll. Now back to the show. Mid-roll done. We're back for big fun. I read something recently. It was kind of a joke, but I think it does apply. I think it might have been from a stand-up routine that people back in 50s, 60s, 70s, whatever, would constantly complain of having headaches, and it was likely because they weren't hydrated enough. And I'm saying this because I'm recording a lot of episodes and bonus episodes today, and I don't necessarily like to drink in the middle of an episode, although I have at one point or another. But I had to take a big swig in between here because, man, I have such a headache. But I'm not going to dwell on that because we are back to their chronology. Kool the Gang, Still Cool, 2007 album. It was their final album to chart anywhere. It was at number 31 R&B. When you think about the fact that at this point, let's do a count. Let's say 77, 87, 97. They'd been around for over 40 years and on recording for almost 40 years, and they're still charting? Come on. Now, Still Cool is not streaming. You can find most of it on YouTube, but not easily. What I like about this album is it's kind of a mix of all of their eras. This is the album and the style that I kind of wish they had pivoted into after JT left, honestly, and they eventually got there, which is nice. Number 1, Dave, first single. Number 13, R&B chart. It's fine. Number 2, Steppin' Into Love was their second single. Number 96, R&B, and it was their final song to chart anywhere, ever, to this date. I also saw it listed in another source as reaching number 7 R&B and number 38 on the adult R&B, which I don't know that chart that well, but either way, it's not a bad song. Number 3, America. Number 4, What's Happening? So 70s, in such a good way. I love that song. It's a good song. Number 5, Is What It Is. I couldn't find it online, so I don't know what it is. because it's not streaming as far as I can see. Number 6, Everything's Gonna Change. Number 7, Too Low for Zero. Smoky groove. Really, really nice. Number 8, Bang Bang with the Gang. Also, very good song. I enjoy it. I think there's rapping on it. Number 9, Made for Love. Number 10, Give It Up. Couldn't find it, and I gave up. Number 11, Trust Me. Number 12, Miracles. Number 13, Living in the 21. Number 14, Sorry. Also couldn't find, and I did feel quite sorry that I couldn't find at least 3 of the songs on this album. And number 15, Someone Like You. And number 16, Sailing, an instrumental version of the Christopher Cross song. A little too smooth jazz for me, but really, really well done. So all those songs that I listed that I didn't comment on, I just didn't necessarily like, although I like the sound and the performances. And then, of course, the ones I said I couldn't find, I have no idea what they sound like. In 2010, they released a non-album single, Misled, L-E-A-D, featuring Tawana, and the only place I could find this was on SoundCloud. Now, I don't know if it's SoundCloud itself or the actual production quality of this, but the values were not great, and I'm not somebody who really cares about that. But it was just surprising that something put out by a band this big with that much of a career and money and everything, I think it might have been a SoundCloud thing. I don't know. Interesting to listen to, though. In 2013, they released the album Kool for the Holidays. Didn't chart. Now, you know I'm a sucker for all kinds of holiday music. I do a holiday episode every year, at least one. And I have my giant playlist, which I have shared with you before. None of the songs in this album hit me. It's well done, and it's maybe worth checking out, especially if you're into holiday music. But it's not a top of anything for me, although it is on streaming, so it's easy to find. And then we skip all the way from 2013 to 2019. They released a non-album single. Now, there was something released in between, which I'm going to get to in a second, but I'm skipping ahead for a reason. You'll see why. The song in 2019 was Down on It, featuring Kool and the Gang and Zako and David Solomon. It's kind of a Skrillex-style remix of Get Down on It, which, great. It's actually pretty nice. In 2021, they released their next album, original material, Perfect Union. It was their first new music since 2007, because you can't really count that album where they re-recorded their old music. No. So that's a long time to go, but they did it. They came back. It was the last to feature Ronald Bell, Kelis Bayan, before his death the previous year. So it was released posthumously. By the way, he was the driving production force behind most of their albums, other than with Deodato and Here and There. So you have to credit Ronald Bell, Kelis Bayan, I may be mispronouncing that, for their sound in a very, very large way. Perfect Union is not a bad album. I think it's better than all of their 90s output. Sounds like very much like the 2007 album. And I think it's a nice step forward, actually. And it is streaming, which gives it the kind of the leg up. Here are some of the songs, all of the songs. Pursuit of Happiness, The Weeknd. Leave It on the Dance Floor, which I really like. High. Sexy, Where'd You Get Yours? It was their first single released in 2016. That's what I was saying before. Between 2013 and 2019, they released this as a single, so they must have started working on this album quite early. Didn't chart. I think Sexy, Where'd You Get Yours is the strongest on this album. Does it rank for me? You'll have to find out. The bonus MxTRA, patreon.com/music's not a genre, my top 45 Kool and the Gang songs. All to Myself, very nice song. Stuff like All to Myself would have made those late 80s and early 90s albums much stronger, as far as I'm concerned. The song Royalty, but each letter it's like an acronym. I don't know. I didn't love the song. Hold On, not the one you're thinking of. Good Time, just a good groove, good song. And Pursuit of Happiness, rap version, was the second single. Didn't chart. Not a bad song. Not a fave, but not a bad song. And then their most recent album in 2023, People Just Want to Have Fun. Didn't chart. Features the final work done by Ronald Bell, who I just talked about, and George Brown, who died, I believe, in 2021, I want to say. 2022, maybe. Overall, very, very strong album. Very strong. Well, I'm talking about an album released by a band that got together in 64 and recorded their first album in 69. This album was released in 2023 by at least 3 of the original members. And I'm saying it's very good. That is significant. First track, Let's Party, featuring Shasha Jones, was the first single, and I really like it. Second, Movie Star, featuring George Brown, Amy Miller, Jordan. Okay. Fourth single, also like it. Number 3, title track, People Just Want to Have Fun. We Are the Party, second single, really good as well. VIP was the third single, not bad. Na Na Na, then Go Get It. I like the sound. I like how it moves. Give Love. I Want It All, which very, very good, I think. Heaven's Gift. Then Obsession, which is nice, smooth. For the Woman in You, My Weakness. That's What I Love About You. And then 99 Miles to JC. And I love the fact that they yet again, tradition, ended an album with an almost 8-minute jam. This is the kind of stuff a band has been around this long. They can make every single song an 8-minute jam if they wanted to. But I admire the fact that they did it, even though it's clear they're still chasing the charts. Now, that wasn't their last release. It was their last album, not their last release. This year, in 2025, they released Cool Summer EP. It's an EP of remixes. Get Down, featuring Adam 10, Jackie IT. I really like that remix of Get Down on it. Jungle Boogie, the Reflex Revision Radio Edit, featuring the Reflex. Then Celebration, same Reflex Revision Radio Edit. Very good update of Celebration, I think. Get Down on It, featuring Young Franco, decent. Celebration, again, DJ Crazy Jersey Club remix. Fast. I like it. Nice reinterpretation. Fresh, the Prince Hakeem remix. Great update. Might be my favorite remix, or at least top 3. Which, by the way, the Prince Hakeem, or Da Prince Hakeem, was featured on the hip hop album, and on probably other albums. And he's Robert Bell's son, so that's why he's here. And he's actually a good performer too. Which brings me to the end of their releases so far. I do expect more from the young guns, Kool the Gang, but let's get to conclusions. So, shout out to the fact that I am someone who loves horns, and I love a horn section. I'm a Chicago fan. I'm a jazz fan of certain types of jazz, and any other song that deigns to include horns is something I would give a second listen to, unless it's the typical cheesy sax. Some of that is still good, but you know what I'm saying. Horn sections especially. Again, Kool the Gang are not a heart artist for me, which if you've been listening to this podcast, you know what I mean by that. But I've always loved at least some of their music, and my appreciation for them has absolutely skyrocketed, as I kind of knew it would. It is shocking that this band is not more well covered online. Or is it shocking? I don't know. If you remember from the Pointer Sisters episode, no one seemed to see fit to rank their albums. Like any critic or any writer or reviewer or journalist or whatever. Come on, they've been around how long? They're legendary and no one's ranked them. Kind of the same thing here. There were some rankings for albums, which I'll get to my rankings soon, but it's that overall their coverage was not very strong. And listen, I bring in social issues. I've talked about that in the first episode of this season, and I think this is significant. I think if you can imagine, and you don't have to imagine very hard, a white band that's been around for decades and has legendary and had big hits at some point, you would guess that there would be articles and books and ratings and rankings and all that stuff all over the place for them. And all of their music would in some way be online, even if it's not on streaming. That is not the case with this band. And I'm sorry, I think there's a racist element to that, not by any particular person, but by the culture at large. And it could be other things, access, and the people who love this music might not have access or ability to, put it online and all of that stuff. But it's honestly, I guess it's not that shocking that they're not that well covered, but it's still kind of annoying. And it's annoying that there's music, the first time in all of my years of doing this podcast, that I couldn't find some of the music of an artist online. It's insane. Insane. Now, back to the band itself. It is amazing to me how closely Kool and the Gang's trajectory parallels two particular bands, and I'm sure more, but I'm naming these two, Chicago and the Pointer Sisters. You can say that there's some parallels in Journey's, trajectory and Yes's trajectory as well. But in particular, Pointer Sisters and Chicago, and I'll talk about why. First, let's get to the Pointer Sisters. They started in the 1960s. They recorded starting in the very early 70s, so pretty close and similar to Kool and the Gang. They had a few hits that put them on the map in the 70s, but then had a decline towards the end of that decade. Again, very similar. They had a slow boil comeback that exploded them forever into history, like Kool and the Gang. They had a faster decline, followed by years of trying to figure out what to do next and not having any hits and kind of chasing the tail of previous hits and unsuccessfully trying to match current trends. The difference here is that the Pointers material, A, was stronger in the late 80s than Kool and the Gang's material, but B, ended in 1993 pretty much for all intents and purposes, as opposed to Kool and the Gang, which kept going. But they both achieved legend status. They both continue to perform in some capacity to this day. There's a lot of parallels. They both lost members sooner than you would want them to. Now go to Chicago, also started in the 1960s, also released their first album in 1969, also a large ensemble featuring horns and funk and jazz and rock and other elements, also had multiple vocalists. They also had 1970s hits that defined them as one kind of band, though, of course, Chicago had far more hits in the 70s than Kool and the Gang did. They also lost their way in the late 1970s, and then that was mostly because of the death of Terry Kath, although not only because of that. They reinvented themselves and exploded in the 1980s, just like Kool and the Gang. A little faster boil than Kool and the Gang, but still. They, at that time, ended up having one main singer that defined them. In this case, Peter Cetera. In Kool and the Gang's case, J.T. Taylor. Both main singers would leave those bands within a year of each other. Chicago still had quite a few hits, even into the early 90s, so a little different from Kool and the Gang. But they were both struggling to define themselves after their commercial peaks ended. But they continued on, continuing to release new material to recent days. I think both bands have released something new this year, continuing to perform, putting out Christmas albums and collaborations and on compilations, remaining largely a live band whose recorded material struggles to keep up with the times and with general quality as far as I'm concerned. Some key band members eventually leave, although in Chicago's case it wasn't death, but still they left. And of course, in Kool and the Gang's case, it was death. A lot of uncanny parallels. Some of that is just cultural. That's how a band that long goes. But you can't say the same thing about the Beach Boys, who've been around forever. Their trajectory is far different as far as I'm concerned. So here we are. Fun part, as promised, my top album rankings. So they released 26 albums, studio, and 2 significant live albums. Right? My list is almost half of that. It's 13. Now, as it will surprise you, not surprise you, I should say, you're not going to agree with some of these selections. Critics would not agree with some of these selections if they bothered to rank them. Not enough have. But I stand by my selections, and I think we're going to have fun getting through these. So number 13 on my list was People Just Want to Have Fun from 2023. Yes, I'm ranking their most recent album above a dozen of their other albums. Live with that. It's incredible that they're still going strong. It deserves a fair listen. It has more good and fun songs than you would expect. The production is very good. The performance is very good. And it's stronger to me than any of their albums from 86 to 2021, although Perfect Union, probably if I picked 14, Perfect Union would be 14 from 2021. And then People Just Want to Have Fun would be 13, as it is, because it's not quite as heavy-handed as Perfect Union. Number 12, their first album, Kool and the Gang. Oh, man. Every band should hope for a debut this incredible. And I like how it retains that pre-1970s funk soul sound, but also kind of looks ahead. Number 11, Light of Worlds, 1974, that iconic jazz fusion landmark, and it's sublime. There are albums I like better, though, of course, and we're getting to my top 10. Number 10 is Good Times, 1972. It's in the funk sweet spot, and it's a cool transitional album from their earlier era to what they were getting into. It adds stuff to the jazz funk mix that would give them hits later on. Number 9, Live at PJ's. Any band that gets me to not only listen to a live album and not only like a live album, but to rank a live album in my top 10 has to be a damn good live band. And of their 2 classic live albums, PJ's I think is better. It might be the best representation of them during this period. Number 8 is 1983's In the Heart. Lots of range here, more than you would think, owning their reinvention, especially since they had dropped Deodato before this album. And of course, Joanna and Tonight are classic hit singles. I wouldn't say it's their top best of this period, but I mean, it's number 8 on my list, and it has more cool stuff than you would think. Number 7 is Emergency from 1984. I guarantee you most people would rank this higher because it's their biggest album with the 4 huge hits: Fresh, Misled, Cherish, and Emergency. It holds up. I consider it the 7th best of theirs. Well produced, despite it being 1984. And that song, 7+ minute song, nice surprise. Really nice surprise. Number 6, Spirit of the Boogie from 1975. What a pivot into more esoteric music, and I think it stands on its own as just a classic album. Into my top 5, you gotta go with 1979's Ladies' Night. Just a pitch-perfect reinvention. No weak songs in my book. Listenable all the way through. Even past Ladies' Night and Too Hot. All the 6 songs on there are all good. Number 4, Something Special, 1981. Post-disco classic. It's in my sweet spot for production, 78 to 82. It has more elements of the 1970s than the previous 2 JT albums. It's like they were kind of had scrubbed a little, and then they brought some of it back, and that's why I like this as number 4, and it wears it well. And frankly, any album that has Get Down on it is by default a good album. Number 3 is Celebrate, 1980, another post-disco classic. Despite only the 1 hit, of course, their biggest hit, still Celebrate, the whole album's great. It breathes more than you would expect. You would think they were just going straight up pop. Nope. First of all, production, sweet spot, love it. 1980, it's amazing. But the whole album is just incredibly listenable and eclectic and more diverse. Number 2, As One, 1982. I know this one. People would disagree with being this high. It's kind of a tweener during their rise, but to me, it best captures their strengths of that period. And to me is the most thoroughly listenable. There's no song that I disliked. I liked every single song on this album. And of course, it's also still in my production sweet spot. It's one of only 2 albums of theirs that I can say that I liked all of their songs on the album. That's why it's number 2. Though all top 5 really came close. Like the top 5 albums on this list, there were maybe 1 song that I was like, or 2 songs. But this one, every single song. Big Fun is awesome. Let's Go Dancing should be revisited by everyone. Pretty Baby and Street Kids kill. If you want to know where they kill, bonus MxTRA, patreon.com/music is not a genre. My top 45 songs from 45 to number 1. This doesn't have the bigger hits of this era, but I still think it's the best representation of the JT's run with the band. Which brings me to the number 1 album of Kool the Gang, Wild and Peaceful from 1973. A lot of people would agree with this. So this is where it's unusual for me, but I would have to agree. It is just their hard landing into success with Jungle Boogie and Hollywood Swinging. I could listen to it over and over. It's a sweet spot for me in terms of jazz, rock, funk, fusion. And again, I like every single song on the album. And it tips it over as one slightly, not because of the hits, not because of Jungle Boogie and Hollywood, but because funk jazz fusion is, I can't resist it. Flute solos and all that stuff, horn sections. I could see this played in a mix along with many Chicago album cuts from that same era. So you can see why I would like it. That's my album ranking. Some more conclusions. While they didn't uniformly release amazing material, they really didn't, it's still amazing they had at least 2 amazing eras and a respectable third era. And it's amazing how long they lasted and that they're still around. As I went over in the first episode, and we'll do very briefly again now, it's really a story of 3 bands. In first, Fusion. Second, JT era. And the third, the Aftermath. And the first era, and if you listen to the first episode, this is a bit of a retread. There are 10 phases here. The first era has 3 phases. Their hardcore live era, up from 69 to 72. Number 2 is their funktastic fusion era from 73 to 75. And that all of those 2 contain the first 3 studio albums, the 2 live albums, and their next 3 albums. And the third phase in this era is the Freak Funk Disco, 76 to 78, their next 4 albums. Their first decline and their first, not their first, but their need and desire to reinvent and re-explore and all of that and rejigger their sound. Second era had the phases bubbling up, starting with JT in 79, going to 82 as one. All the work with Deodato. Number 2 is breaking out phase from 83 to 87, of course, covering the rest of the JT albums in that decade. And that's it for that second era. Just had those 2 phases, because after JT left, it really was a third phase. And even though from 87 to now is a long time, I don't feel like there was enough of a shift in their direction or what they were doing to consider a different era. However, I do consider different phases in this era. Number 1, it was reinvention struggles. From 88 to 92, they were really trying to recapture some of their success and find good singers and good songs. Number 2 was when JT popped back in, and they hoped for a big comeback that didn't happen in 96. Number 3, hip-hopping, all the 2000s, really, everything there. Their attempt at reinvention by incorporating hip-hop and new artists, and updating their sounds, some of which worked well. It's like Still Cool, the album. Some didn't, but most of it was pretty good. Number 4, running out the clock, 2010 to 2021, and I call it that because they were doing everything they could really live more than anything else, and didn't put out any new material during this period except for, I think, 1 or 2 songs, maybe 1 song. And a lot of their members died during this period. And then the final phase is what we're in now. What's next? We see a little bit of what's next because of their releases in 2025. And we don't know what's coming next, but I guarantee you some other things are coming. It's fitting for a band driven by familial and spiritual forces, among others, that alchemy played the biggest part in their success. Right people, right time, right material, the vibe. And that's hard to replicate. And the fact that they did replicate it at least twice is great. But the fact that they kept trying was both admirable and a little disappointing, because, I think it's often the case that bands who rely on and love their live game put a lot of their heart and soul into that and end up not knowing what to do in the recording. And considering there were many times they did know what to do in the recording, it's disappointing to me that they didn't translate more of that energy and approach onto a lot of their later albums. Although, as spiritual people, they were trying to follow the flow forward and not backward, which I hugely respect. But I felt like on recording, they were doing it more externally and not so much internally. But you got to handle it to Kool himself, Robert Bell, for still going strong. Whatever struggles they've had, you can't deny their impact. You can't deny their influence. Can't deny all their incredible songs, of which I rank my top 45 in the bonus MxTRA at patreon.com/musicisnotagenre. Speaking of songs, again, featured song. This is often a hard choice for me. Last week it was, because I had already chosen a song, and that's this week's song, which was not hard for me to choose. When you listen to Rek's song, Sing Owwt, which is spelled Sing, O-W-W-T, from Syncope for the Weird, you will 1,000% get a vibe of Kool and the Gang. I guarantee you will, among other things. but I think you will. It's got the funk, it's got the soul, it's got the celebration vibe. It has the hip-hop of their later eras. It has the ensemble singing of their earlier eras, and some of their later eras. Has horn sounds. I didn't use real horns. I don't have access to them, but it has horn sounds, which I think work really well. The idea for this song came from something my wife used to do in a silly voice, which I also captured as part of the recording. She also sings on this song legit. Backup. It's about remembering that you need to sing out what's inside you to truly live life to the fullest. It features the title Sing Out, sung in like a dozen languages, I think, and I think that includes Klingon. Click the link, stream it wherever you stream it, like it, playlist it, please, please do it. And then hang out for a minute. You're going to hear it just very soon. After these questions, how much of Kool and the Gang's work do you know from the late 1980s and beyond? Did you check out after their success waned? Or did you continue on with them? Do you think there are lost songs and albums more people should know after 1986? Did either of these episodes of Kool and the Gang compel you to listen beyond the hits? I want to know the answers to all these questions and more because, as always, my objectives here are music, conversation, and connection. Thanks for hanging with me for this 2-part episode on Kool and the Gang, and I will talk to you next week.
So good, it's tragic, it's epic, and you want more, more, more. Every little thing I do is magic. I'm so good, it's tragic, it's epic, and it turns you on. I'm in a good place doing a good thing. I'm in a foot race doing I'm winning. I'm making one move, it's itty bitty, and then watch me take over this city. It's not a master plan, I'm ever faster than I gotta be, cause no one's faster than me. I'm the third eye, yeah, I know the scheme. I sing cause it makes me sound supreme, like I'm in a roller coaster inching up the track, going so tick forward, no going back. I'm holding on so quietly, the riot be riling up inside of me. Every inch up there's a little tick, but I can't hear the sound cause my beats are thick. And when I make it up to the highest beam, hands up and it's time to scream, I gotta sing it out. Every little thing I do is magic. It's epic, and you want more, more, more. Every little thing I do is magic. It's epic, and it turns you on. It's like I don't know what I think until I say it out loud. Before you leave me the straight as it comes out of my mouth. My beats are so thick that I can't stay down, and you can't escape it either cause it's surround sound. I'm a little bit crazy, which it doesn't faze me. You have to amaze me, like maybe Big Jay-Z. Shout out all the ways we turn nights into days, see. But I'm in the gray state where my mind plays free. Sing out this phrase, G's, in 13 different ways, please. Oh, you gotta sing out, sing out. Oh, you gotta sing out, sing out, sing out. Or as they say in French, chante. Or as they say in Spanish, no cantas. Or as they say in Chinese, July. Or as they say in Swedish, they say it in Korean, they say it in Italian, they say it in Japanese, they say it in Swahili. A little bit of this, little bit of that, sing out, sing out. A little bit of this, little bit of that, sing out, sing out. Every little thing I do is magic. I'm so good, it's tragic, it's epic, and you want more, more, more. Every little thing I do is magic. It's so good, it's tragic, it's epic, and it turns you on. They say in Esperanto, they say in Hungarian, they say it in Russian, or as they say in Klingon. A little bit of this, little bit of that, sing out, sing out.